Hi guys, so I started this video with a mic and a selfie stick and all kinds of other stuff, but I realized that I was putting too much effort into it. I'm starting to get to a point where all 19 subscribers have got me flustered, I guess. I don't know. I never really thought that this would go public, but there's a couple people out there that are interested in what I do, and I'm trying to get back to just doing what I started, which was basically like explaining the process for myself in the future to kind of understand what I was doing at the time, what I was going through at the time, and some of the challenges that I was going through. So if I'm being honest, it is a video about me talking, and I know a lot of people don't get down on that because they're looking for entertainment, but this wasn't originally meant to be an entertaining channel. It was just kind of a thought process of what I was going through at the time and the struggles that I went through and updates on the cars that I have and kind of the process. But I guess the first update is the DSM, because there's at least 15 of my 19 subscribers are looking forward to the progress of what's actually happening on this car. So I will tell you that I hit a stopping point. I wouldn't say a stopping point, but I hit a pretty good hurdle, and I'm at the point where I need to make a decision on what I want to do. And what that boils down to is, for one, I already lost this front sway bar. That's out of the picture unless I find some sort of aftermarket or can come up with a different sway bar that fits in the front of this unit. But the other main hurdle is the fact that when you do this, if you're trying to do an all-wheel drive swap, now I know that there is a guy on YouTube that does K swaps in the second gen, and I'm well aware of it. I've actually reached out to him to see what he does for axles because I was kind of curious to see how he got around that hurdle. But this is what I'm dealing with right now. So the white line right there is actually, this is actually really poor representation, but it was my first mock-up. Like, this is where your factory transfer case goes. It is elevated a little bit, but this is the amount of material that you have to take out of the DSM rear support to fit a K-series motor in your DSM. If you have ever looked into K-swapping your DSM, because it would be cool to have a K motor in your DSM and you can beat the wheels off of it and not have to worry about parts or not have to worry about anything else. Know what you get into. That's a lot of meat. So, reason why I say that, again, this is all kind of one take, but the reason why I say that this is a pretty big hurdle is because the factory sway bar, like I've mentioned in a previous video, follows this curve. So you lose that, obviously. The next thing is that in this cut line, your steering rack sits back behind this. It doesn't sit up top. It actually sits lower down here. So what you run into is, if you make this cut, you cut into the, let's just say, driver's side front mount of where your power steering mounts. So a good example of this would be over here, where you can actually kind of see, this is the K motor with the all-wheel drive transmission. And this is the sacrificial subframe, if you will, that I have. You can definitely tell that mount is what I'm talking about. So this motor is about where it needs to go, right? Except for the fact that it needs to go up about an inch. And when you do that, that gets in the way. So I have thought about a few different solutions. I already know that sorry, it's a little jumpy. I already know with the fact that I've taken so much meat out of this rear, I guess, subframe, that I'm going to have to add some sort of additional support, at least because I don't want it to crack. And through here, you can tell that it's a pretty sharp angle. It's almost 90 degrees with a radius. But I'm going to have to add some sort of, I don't know, more than likely
some sort of tube here or box frame out to this way, and it goes down here to keep this, because if you launch this car and it makes any sort of horsepower, this mounts your lower control arm, and I don't want this to shake or wheel hop or whatever and vibrate, and then it's probably going to crack right there if I had to guess. So I want to support it from here all the way out to the edge, come down to the side with something. I think that I have plenty of room in here to do whatever I need to do on this side, as long as the axle is in plane with the hub. I'm more concerned about CV angles than anything, because I don't want to mount the motor incorrectly or in a bad position. If the CV angles are junk, it's going to lead to more problems than if the motor and transmission were where they need to go, and then figure out how to work all this back here. So the goal is I'm probably going to lose this mount. And sorry for my fingers, they're horrible. I'm probably going to lose that mount. But I've also looked into, there is one bolt hole on the backside. I looked at raising the rack up. I looked at moving the rack back. I looked at a lot of different options. I actually looked at quite a few different manual racks. I don't have to have a power rack in this car. I don't plan to have a power rack in this car, but a manual rack would be smaller, but I don't know if it's going to be small enough to get past that. So my goal here is to, if it will focus, God, this is horrible. I don't know why you guys watch me. But my goal here is to move, well, for one, I've got to move this mount, right? And if you're familiar with the Hasport kit, it actually bolts to this flange right here and goes straight up. So I might even lose more subframe than what I thought. But if I can make a 1-bolt flange that C-clips around this, and even maybe potentially bolts up here somehow, we'll figure that out. I'm not real sure where we're going to go right now, but I do know I need to lose that front driver mount. So that's going to go away. You can tell that from looking at it, the transfer case, if you want to call it that, is close. It's not bad, but it needs to go up about 1 inch to get the drive shaft where it should go in this car. And not just that, but the entire motor and transmission should probably go up about another inch, because this car's not going to be on the ground, but I really don't want it dragging on the transmission or the pan. So it's all got to go up. And I've made peace with the fact that I'm going to lose that mount. I really don't want to move the motor forward anymore, because my CV angles are going to be junk. So this is close to where it needs to go, but not quite where it needs to go. And it would be a lot simpler if this is where it lived and I could mount the steering rack where it goes, but that's just not the case. So I want to do it where it's right. And I hope that we can throw some horsepower at this thing and not have to worry about front CV axles exploding or getting in a bind, or I don't want to worry about them when I make a corner. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to require some more cutting. I guess a little bit of footage from the front. You can tell from here, I'm taking quite a bit of meat. Oh, this is a horrible camera angle. Quite a bit of meat out of the front subframe. The rack isn't in it right now, but I'm just trying to make sure it's fit the motor where it goes and then work around that. So that's where we're at. Oh, this light's what's getting me. Hang on. Anyways, so that's where we're at. That's where the transmission and transfer case sit. Again, if you watched any of my previous videos, you would know that like the ultimate goal for this thing is all-wheel drive turbo, but right now we're just trying to get the K-swap in it and running and driving front-wheel drive with no drive shaft, but the transfer case still has to fit. So we're there. Anyways, so update. Back to me. I know you're super excited to see my face again. Anyways, God dang. Let me turn this light off. Oh, that's better. You can't really see me. So, anyways, update on the other project car. I've said this in another video, we did buy an EG hatch.
It's making a lot more progress than what this car is, just because everything from Honda's kind of bolt together and just run with it. If you follow my buddy Alex, he's got quite a few videos of us pulling motors and getting different stuff out of junkyards. The majority of that is to put that car together, not so much this car. So we have an EG hatch. It is a 94. It is white. We have basically cut the entire front end off of it. I will probably make a video about that car. Sorry for the hand. God, what a horrible video editor. Anyways, I'll probably make a video about that car whenever it gets closer to completion. I think that car is way easier to work on than this car is, mainly because everything's plug and play, right? You want big brakes, you buy them off of this car. You want a faster motor, you buy it out of this car. You want different rear sway bars, you buy them out of this car. So that's kind of what we've done, is bought it as a rolling shell. It was wrecked. We cut the entire front end off of it and grafted a different front end off of a coupe. Same stuff, but we converted it, or I wouldn't say converted. We basically put an entire front end of this thing. So both front rails, the front core support was cut out of it originally, so we added a core support back to it, so it looks fairly factory. It is to the point now where it is clean, it is painted, it is together. It's at my dad's house, so it's not in my garage here. But he's a body man. He's actually the one that's doing all the work on the car. So I cannot thank him enough for doing that, because it's a lot of work. I learned a lot about it, and thankful that I have that opportunity to let him do that, or he would do it for me, for one. So that car is back together. For the most part, as far as structurally goes, it's together. We are doing quite a few modifications to it. I would say it's not a race car, but it is going to be a street car that I plan to do track days in with the kids. When they turn 12, they can ride along with me, and I wanted to have something that was easy, and I didn't have to worry about tearing it up or going off track or murdering it. So that's where we're at on that one. I'll do a full video at some point whenever that car gets further along than what it is, but it's a good car. It's a beater. I got it for cheap, but we're going to figure it out. It should be fun. So just know that I'm a regular dude, and I guess we are still making progress, although slow progress, on our projects, probably just like the majority of the other people out there with project cars. So this is where we're at, this is what we're doing, and I think that as long as we keep making a few steps forward, when you can, we'll get there. Half the fun is building it, the other half is driving it. So I kind of appreciate the fact that I can build it, and I kind of enjoy doing it. So that's the video for tonight. I guess till the next update, we'll see you then. But I do plan to have a full video on the EG at some point. It's come a long way in a short amount of time because it's a Honda and everything bolts together. So we'll figure that out. I'll post something coming up, and then that one will probably be driving well before that one is. But I haven't given up on it. It has gotten a little tricky, but we're still gonna figure it out. That's what we do. Anyways, all right, till next time, stay tuned.